On the 27th of April 1994, in a small village in Natal, Sizwe was listening intently to the radio for the results of the first democratic national elections. He jumped with joy as the ANC came into power and Nelson Mandela became president. The apartheid laws were brought to an end and Sizwe was able to travel to Johannesburg, the city of gold. It was time for a new beginning. When Sizwe entered Joburg, he met a young man, Sipho, at a taxi rank. Sipho told Sizwe about a building in downtown Joburg where lots of people stayed. The rent was only 500 rands. Sizwe went to an area in downtown Joburg known as Bedrooms. There he was introduced to Jack Crook, the owner of the building. Mr. Crook gave Sizwe permission to move in. Sizwe shared the building with 80 other residents. Some of them had kids. That's a lot of people. Sizwe met a lovely girl named Lindiwe. They fell in love and they lived happily in the building, going about their normal lives. Sometime in 1997, Mr. Crook disappeared without telling the residents. The residents continued living at the building, and then in 1998 the occupants received a letter from a company called Hambala, claiming that it owned the building and the families should leave immediately. Sizwe was shocked. He didn't know what to do. Oh, Bandla, kwenziwa njani makunje? Oh no, what now? When a person or a group of people are faced with an eviction, it's recommended that they get legal advice. So Sizwe and Lindiwe went to CALS, a human rights organization, to ask for help from the lawyers. The lawyers can help them to challenge this eviction and to get help from government. But why is it the government's obligation? The Constitution is the highest law of the land, and it says that government has an obligation to protect a person's right to housing. So the government has a responsibility to make sure that people don't end up homeless. According to the Constitution, specific laws are drafted by a part of government called the legislature. The people who bring these laws into reality work for a part of government called the executive. And then we have courts. The courts are part of the government that is called the judiciary. These are the guys who decide that, for example, it is right or wrong for Sizwe to be evicted. For example, in the world of soccer, FIFA is the legislature, as they make the rules. Bafana would be the executive, as they play the game. And the referee is the judiciary, as they make sure that the players do not commit a foul. In order to give the Constitution a real-life meaning, we have PI. No, not that kind of PI. The PI Act, the Protection of Illegal Occupation and Unlawful Eviction Act of 1998. Thus, it is a law that protects the residents' rights as well as the property owner's rights. PI tells us, 1. The processes that the owner of the property, Hambala, and the government must follow if they want to evict Sizwe and his friends. 2. The processes that Sizwe and his friends must follow when they want to challenge the eviction. 3. It protects Sizwe and his friends from unlawful evictions or unlawful acts. 4. It's about balancing the rights of the owner of the property, Hambala, with the rights of the resident, Sizwe, who has been staying on the property for more than 6 months. 5. PI also says that the court should consider the personal circumstances of the residents and the rights of women that are in charge of their families, children, gogos, nabomkhulu, and disabled people. Kodwa amakhoti awuchaza kanjani umthetho? But how do our courts interpret the law? The Constitutional Court, which is the highest court in the land, has decided on cases involving housing disputes, like the one Sizwe is facing. The lawyer explained to him the case of Mrs. Grootboom, where the Constitutional Court said the government has to take all the reasonable steps to help people who live in extreme poverty and people who are homeless. In another case called the Occupiers of Olivia Road, the Constitutional Court said it is important for all the parties involved, the government, the people who are being evicted, and the property owner, to talk and try and find solutions. The court said that government has to consider the needs of people who are being evicted and give them temporary alternative accommodation. Bodulo banakwana, indawo yokuhlala okwesikhashana. This gave Sizwe some hope. If he understands the law and the legal road that he should follow, he won't get kicked out into the street without having some place to go. Sizwe's matter took some time to complete. He decided to call on the residents to come together so they could address the issues. The residents understood their situation and they put their trust in the hands of their lawyers. Sizwe and Lindiwe went to court in December 2011. According to the Constitution, the municipality has to provide temporary alternative accommodation for the residents who have nowhere else to go. Sizwe and Lindiwe jumped with joy. This has been a groundbreaking case. Because of the court's decision, evictions are seen as emergency situations, and the municipality has to be involved and also help poor people with temporary homes. After the court's order to provide alternative accommodation, Sizwe and Lindiwe had to register for the extended social package. Depending on their needs, they will be placed at the MBV building where they must pay rent from 600 to 1,000 rands per month. The law is clear on the relationships between the property owner, the people who are being evicted, and the government. The challenge we face is to make sure that what the law says is what really happens. That is why we need lawyers who will continue to fight the good fight. But what is also needed are communities to stand together with a united voice. It's like that old African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.